handicap of all sessions. That will be available. Johnny Mello.
Oh, he gone hard again. And tough break for Johnny Mello. You can actually see it, that left tire is not turning. Left tire is just not turning. Well, Ed, we talked about the DeMellos were concerned about rear end problems. And I'm not sure if it was on the Superfly. I thought it was on their tractor that's painted white, which would be this one right now is the Superfly. They had the problems last night on the Wildfly, but you can see it all the way out of the hole, clear down about the 75-foot mark. That left tire just was not turning. The left tire was not turning. Eventually it did start to turn fairly hard. So let's hope the Mellos are not experiencing some rear end problems.
Of course, the Mellos in a tremendous farming operation in the valley in California. Big in alfalfa production, and Stan has shared for those of us who try to raise some alfalfa here in the Midwest. They have no grass problem, no weed problem. It's just solid alfalfa.
We're having a hard time getting it out of the hole, and Ed, that's sort of a surprise there. You can find out concerned about the rear end on this one. Let's see if it holds together. Here he goes, Johnny Mello out of Hamburg, California. He's lighting it up now. Oh, what a run. Right down there at the finish marker. You can see right down there at the red man. Full finish marker. Good run for Johnny Mello as he sets the distance here in the mini tractor class. This is the 1,750-pound class as we start off the second session of Super Bowl number 12.
On deck, ladies and gentlemen, Richard Trenton from Iowa, 481 cubic inch Chevy. Richard Trenton on deck. Brad Shively of the Grasshopper team, Milford, Pennsylvania, in the hole, the 468 Chevy.
I'd like to mention we're going to be giving away some Red Man caps and some Red Man jackets later tonight. And if you'd like to get in the drawing for those, outside you may take some of the slack in the chain. They drop the chain, and also on every vehicle will be the mini tractors, the trucks, the big modifieds, the super stockers. They hook up a kill switch cable in the back of each vehicle in the event that the machine would break away. Good run for Richard. You can see it never really got a hold of the track. You can see that back end sort of dancing from side to side as he made his run down there about the 200-foot mark, just short of the 200-foot mark as he makes his drive to keep up with the Mellos here in the mini tractor class.
Richard Trenton. 481 Chevy. On deck, ladies and gentlemen, Brad Shively of the Grasshopper team, Belmont, Pennsylvania. Here's a guy last that you see.
Oh, looks like he may be just a few feet short, Ed.
I think he is, Les. What do you say, Russell Mount? I think he is short, but boy, was he giving it a go. And that's what it's all about. How would you like to have one like that to mow the grass with come spring now?
Wow, that's one I'd like to have if my mother-in-law let her mow the grass with something like that.
Oh, the Grasshopper. Brad Shively, Les told you, a former national champ. Now we do have the national champ on deck, Dennis Horst. This is not a road deck, Les. This is a 468 Chevrolet engine. He got it done last night. Well, here's a real pro. He's from your state, Les. Talk about Dennis Horst.
Fantastic year wrapped up for 84, and also a fantastic start for 1985.
Well, I'll tell you, Les, he knows exactly what he has to do. He's got to get it out the end.
You're right, the Red Fox, Dennis Horst out of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. He won last night, the defending Grand National Points champion this year, the 1,750-pound class. Here he goes. You can see again the same thing as last night as he shuts it down. Let him hear it. Dennis Horst.
Oh, what a driver, Les. I'm impressed. And you will get to see that tractor run again. So that means we have a pull-off coming up for this class as your defending national champ. Shows you just why he is your defending national champ. Dennis Horst from Pennsylvania Bull Run. Kevin Brokmuller, Oakland, Indiana, with a hot run and road deck on deck. And Dwayne Hoffman in the hole, and followed by Bellows, #1 tractor.
Well, almost the same. There he goes. He needs a full pull to stand in competition. Kevin, get on. The full pull gate. As you can see, he made a sort of a detour off to the right side of the track here. When he was coming over towards the right side of the track, he was hitting the left brake, and as he started back towards the center to the left side of the track, he started getting on the right brake. And whenever they have to brake, that definitely hurts their forward momentum, which cuts down on the distance that they'll pull the sled.
Boy, was he kicking up the dirt, Les. Kevin Brokmuller was your driver, Indy Super #12, and I mean, we got ourselves a classic going. We're down to 2 before we move into the pull-off, and right now, 2 guys are out on top. Johnny Mello with the Wild Fly, that's powered by a Rodeck engine, and Dennis Horst. And I don't believe I've ever seen anybody get more power out of any 468 Chevy than that of Dennis.
Ready? Chain is tight. Green flag comes out. Johnny Mello on his second entry. And again, that's got power. Now it starts to turn. No doubt about it. Another full pull as Johnny Mello increases his chances for the pull-off. He has 2 of them in there right now. And Dennis Horst is going to have his hands full.
Well, I don't know what they did, Les. Maybe it was the track, but it didn't look like to me that left tire had any problem this time. Also interesting, and I'm sure that those of you guys who drive in the stands here tonight, if you saw him at the 200-foot mark, he was still letting that thing lock in, Les. Just a good piece of driving of Johnny Mello. And it was still locking in, and he kept it right on trucking. And right out the Indy win. Don't forget, souvenir programs are on sale right now. Souvenir programs of Indy Super #12.
And he also has some earplugs for sale. If you'd like to get some earplugs, it's a little noisy in here now. Right here, yeah, it gets a little noisy. Just a little. As we said last night, you can put your hands over your ears and keep the noise out. Only run about 15 seconds. Well, his earplugs are really handy, as you and I found out. When you go back home, your mother-in-law comes to see you. Just stick those earplugs in there and let her go on about her talking, and you do your thing. He calls it the Himmel Shaker. Dwayne Huffman, he's a toolmaker, a machinist. Right now, he has his work cut out for him, and I think he's one of the guys that can do it, though. He needs the full pull. He needs the full pull. Now, we've got to remember, on these indoor tracks, they're shorter. Outside, we're running on 300 feet. Here, we're running about 236 feet for a full pull. Dwayne Huffman turns it on. Tractor class, a 4-way pull-off, and Ed, did you notice as he shut it down at the end, the back wheels of the sled came off the ground. That means he had all the weight up on that hand.
a shaker. That's exactly what he did. Shook her all the way down and right out the end. And we're going to have 4 tractors in the pull-off competition. So we'll heavy up the sled, and we will move right in to the pull-off, and then we'll get set for the 9,000 Super Stock competition. This event is sponsored by America's Best Chew.
Sign up for your chance at the Red Man hats and jackets. Johnny Mello. John and Stan Mello. Stan's the father. He does a lot of the mechanical work. Johnny does the driving. This is the Wild Fly. The Wild Fly machine at Johnny Mello's. Here we go. That does not sound good. And this is the tractor they were concerned about. They replaced the studs on the wheel. And I was talking to Stan when he was replacing the studs earlier today, and he said he was concerned about the rear end, and that's what they're looking at right now, is the rear end of the Wild Fly machine.
Some things are hanging down underneath there. Boy, he had jumped on a good one. Let's give the Mellows a nice round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. He'll be back. Let's do it for Johnny Mello. John, good luck on your second one.
Noted the first 2 years here at the Super Bowl when they had the mini tractors, John and Stan Mello took the #1 position 2 years in a row. They were the champions here at the Super Bowl. And this is the tractor they were concerned about. They replaced this, and they have yet to get their win. If they want to keep their streak alive, they won last night. Got to remember Dennis Horst, Dwayne Huffman, the only 2 guys going up against the 2 Mello tractors here in the pull-off. Dennis Horst, he won last night in the 1,550 pound class. He really sent it out there past the 200-foot mark. Eddie's out to about, 210, 12 feet.
Oh, at least, Les.
Maybe a tough one to compete against here in the pull-off.
Defending national champ, Dennis Horst. He could be a double winner, as Les was talking about. He could be a double winner.
Where did you say that schedule came from?
That come from that Colfax, Wisconsin group. Well, they love their Green Bay Packers. And they evidently have no use for the Minnesota Vikings. I don't understand it.
Burn that thing. Burn it.
Yes. Boy. Yes, sir. I want to mention that the Farm Bureau Co-op people also helping us out this year. And whenever we talk about the Farm Bureau Co-op people, we're talking about Super Diesel X4 Premium.
Yeah, yes, you were asking the name of this tractor. More than 1,750 pounds. Green light is on the sled. JJ gets ready to bring out the green flag. Now remember, Dennis Torres sitting out there in that #1 spot right now. Johnny Mello's going after. He needs to be 213 feet. Dave, or Adams, you got a problem here, huh? If you don't wash, you get those things.
Oh, my. What do you think? 120 mile an hour spin on the tires? Maybe
really turned them. They've been turning them too hard for this short track.
Maybe.
But Dennis Torres breathed a sigh of relief as Mello spin out just short of that 200-foot mark. The pressure is not off yet. Dwayne Huffman still to hook and make his run. And we've got to remember, as all of us were watching Dwayne make his run and then ask the favorite, the majority here were thinking maybe Dwayne was the guy that could do it today. 511 cubic inch heavy powered mini tractor.
So Dennis Horst is out on top at 2:13.6. And the flying in machines now, second and third, 191.11. Just ran 191.11.
And again, we say a big whomp to the Timbers and Tobacco Company in the 1985 sponsoring NTPA Grand National Regional State Final. $30,000 plus on the Grand National Points Fund in 1985, plus the regional points funds, and also you can subscribe to the NTPA Puller magazine and turn your mailbox into a pulling track every month.
There you go, Dwayne Hoffman.
He has a good shot at it, Ed. Remember, 213 feet, the distance to be. Dennis Horst wraps up 2 wins here at the Indy Super Bowl. And that may be something to look for in the record books also, Ed, because first year they have 2 classes and one guy wins both of them.
So he indeed will go into the record books. As Les said, nobody's going to be able to change that. First time for double classes of mini, and we've got a double winner. He is also your defending national champ, and we would like to have right up for the trophy presentation, Dennis Horst. Would you come up to the winner's circle, please? Dennis Horst, first place. And we'll get the distance. We've got it 183.7 for Dwayne Hoffman. 183.7. We'll give you the full rundown of this class.
We also need Johnny Mello and Dwayne Huffman. Johnny Mello and Dwayne Huffman also to trackside for trophy presentations. That's good. Dwayne Huffman a good hand as he exits the Coliseum and then back out here for trophy presentation. Dennis Horst wraps up to the announcer's stand.
Let's give all the mini track other end of the track, and Les, we are about to run with a test run of the 9,000 Super Stocks.
Where's our AC fans? Alice Chalmers fans. Let's hear it for us. We started off. Got our AC fans up there. And Harold running everything new.
You Alice Chalmers fans can stand up and wave your hands when these guys go. We allow that. When your tractor runs, you can stand up and cheer.
That's right. Harold Wilson.
All right.
New engine.
You bet.
New paint job.
Smoke machine is ready.
He can really lay down a good run. He'll be setting the sled here in the 9,000-pound super stock class. The sled hander, Harold Wilson, gone hard, digging and chewing, just picking the front end a little. Good run, well weighted. Right straight down the track, no down about it, right out the gate. Good run for Harold Wilson.
That. Well, he played with it. Now we're going to stir up a little. Andy says we're going to heavy her up, but I'm not a bit surprised at that. That's just a little bit of a warm-up. Oh, my. We're going to have to nail them quicker than that, because at that rate we have everybody making a full pull. But Harold Wilson warming her up real good. Now, for those of you who have never been to Indy Super, we have a unique setup here with this smoke tube. And I'll tell you, Les, these guys do a job. It takes a lot of hands.
Down hard, digging and chewing, just picking the front end a little. Good run, well weighted. Right straight down the track, no down about it, right out the gate. Good run for Harold Wilson.
Pulling this smoke out, and the guy couldn't identify his car when he went to leave. But I mean, it was totally black.
Windows,
the whole thing.
bumpers.
He really did have smoked windows.
Imagine when he turned the air.
Chewing Tobacco, Indiana Farmers Insurance Group, and Big Ben Work Clothes by Wrangler are sponsors for Indy Super number 12.
And here's a guy that's been in the winner's circle many times in NTPA Grand National and Regional Competition. Harold Wilson and the sled handler, the ACD-21. And as we said, they've completely gone over this machine since the end of last year's circuit. New engine, new paint job. He had a beautiful run the first time. He came out about the 75 to 100-foot mark, just started to pick up the front end just a little, carrying it right down the track and out the end. And here he goes, Harold Wilson, the ACD-21. foot bar. Good run. He has to be well pleased with that.
And I would be very surprised, Les, if he would come back. He has the opportunity as the test driver to come back for the second try. It's my guess that Harold Wilson will take that particular run. Richard Buss and the 9,000 Superstock competition is on deck from Denver, Iowa. Danny D in the hole. Danny will be followed by the Cowboy Al Cook from Indianapolis, Indiana, with his ACD 21. The 9,000 Superstock class. We're rolling.
About this JJ down here.
Wilson, the ACD 21.
JJ was flagging.
Again, another good run. Just picking the front end and carrying it, going hard, digging it and chilling. Down about the 200, and you can see the tires starting to slow down as they really locked it into the track, and then they started to turn.
How do you know?
That's when your mother lets you lick the icing off the mixer meters while it's still running. While it's still on Superstock class. The majority of them are internationals. We get down into the 7,000 Superstock class, and we see less internationals and more John Deeres and the ACs. Green flag is out. 221 feet the distance to beat. Richard Buss starts to wind it up. They have to build the RPMs on these Superstock tractors to get those exhaust-driven turbochargers turning. You can tell Richard having just a problem getting the RPMs up, getting the pressure out of those turbochargers that he wants. Not exactly sure what Richard's problems are, but he is having a problem. These Superstock engines, driven by the exhaust-driven turbochargers, that's what pushes the air into these engines. The more air you get into any engine, the more fuel you can put in and the more horsepower you get out.
Oh, my golly, Les. Did you hear that thing blow, boy? I mean, kaboom.
Yeah, what I heard, the thing I heard the loudest was the international AC fans laughing when the John Deere blew. Nasty crowd here.
They may have just blown a hose. I mean, this is Danny Dean, and then Al Cook, another one of our young, fine drivers. Of course, I say young. These guys have been with us a good while now, Les. We'll still say young. Always young, but a lot of experience right in the seat right now. Danny Dean, ladies and gentlemen. Let's watch him run. He can blow this out the end, Les. He really could.
Past Grand National Points champion, past Indy Super Bowl winner several times, Superstock for the year 2 times. Danny Dean's a guy that can do it. Brings it out hard, turn the tire, just picking the front end. He has a good run underway. The Rooster going hard. 150, 200, still digging. He's going for the finish line, and just made me a few feet short of that full pole, but no doubt about it. It looks like he will move into the number 1 position right now. Good run for Danny Dean.
He'll be number 1, Les, no doubt about that. And I have to say hats off to the sled spotters. It looks like that sled is nailed right smack on the money for what will turn out to be 1 super class. I said I would not have been a bit surprised had Danny Dean taken the full pull, but he did not. And it's going to take a good run, Les, to make a full pull here in the 9,000 Superstock competition for tonight. Danny Dean, ladies and gentlemen, with your driver, and another guy coming up, Al Cook. I think he was Superstock Driver of the Year several years ago, right here in the Indianapolis, Indiana area, the ACD 21. And Coleman Wheatley from Bethel, Delaware, with a John Deere 4240 in the hole.
Just picking the front end. He has a good run underway. The Rooster going hard. 150, 200, still digging. He's going for the finish line, and just made me a few feet short of that full pole.
But the machines, will the track change? Possibly get better, possibly get worse. That's one of the things that can happen during a pulling contest. As we said before, these guys do draw a position. They take the chances on a ball machine. They get their number. The low number goes first, the high, the fast-moving show. And again, we say welcome to the Pinker Tobacco Company, makers of Red Man for the 1985 season. Put in over $100,000 plus to the Grand National Points race.
To go.
Here he goes. Al Cook, the Alice Cowboy from right here in Indianapolis, Indiana. He's been a past Superstock for the year. He's been a past Indy champ. He's a guy that knows how to do it. Going hard, getting a good run underway. Going towards the left side and getting it straightened out. Just carrying the front end down there about the 200
again, I tell you, this track, Les, that thing's running tough, boy. It really is. Al Cook. Good run, but I will tell you, not good enough. Now, we'll try to watch the instant replay screen and see if we can't pull up an instant replay for you on Al Cook. Here we go. Les and I gets busy, but you can see it on the screen at the far end. Al Cook with his second run. And like you said, he's got that front end, Les, just like you wanted. But he has just been a part of one tough track. Al Cook, your driver. Ladies and gentlemen, on deck. Coleman Wheatley. Certainly no newcomer to tractor pulling. Farms in what we call the Delmarva. That's at Delaware. Delmarva is made up of a key agricultural area, Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia. Coleman Wheatley. Good running John Deere 4240. Bob Thompson with his...
They start to wind up the smoke machine, and he'll let it all hang out. John Deere fans, are you with him? Cheer him on. Let him hear it if you want to see him down there towards that 225-foot mark. He has to go past 225 and 1 to win. 225 and 1's the distance to beat is Coleman Wheatley. The Delaware E-Trainer going hard with the John Deere machine. The 4240 taking and chewing. He's up there close to the 200-foot mark. Just short of the 200-foot mark. Not enough to move into that number 1 spot. They put him in the 3rd or 4th position right now.
Well, you said earlier, Les, that a track can change once you begin the class. This just might be one of those classes, if you had the opportunity to draw early in the class, it may pay off, because as the guys run, it looks like it's getting more difficult. We'll see if we can't pull this up on the instant replay for you. Take another look at this. Coleman Wheatley, 194 feet, 11.3. Here he comes. Instant replay. Looking good. Has that front end, Les. Right where you want it. Right straight down the middle. Nothing wrong with that pull.
See, Eddie may have got to hopping and jumping on the front end just a little. Not really picking it up and carrying it. Never really got it locked in the way he would like to have it locked into the tray.
Made up of better than 75% are farmers or part-time farm people. Bob Thompson now waiting for the green flag. Andy Main is there. Russell Mounts down at this end. And what an event. The 9,000 Super Stock.
234 feet is what they need to cross that finish line, or the Redmond and Kendall markers mark out the finish line. 225 feet, 1 inch, being held by Danny Dean is the leading distance right now. Bob Thompson's going to be going after. Starts to ease out on that clutch as he brings up the RPM to the big International 1466. He's going hard. He's looking good. Starting to lift that front end just a little. Digging in and chewing, going for the 200-foot mark, and right about the 200-foot mark. It sounds like something hammering underneath the hood, Ed. Could be problems on the engine side.
He might have caught a turbo, I don't know, but it didn't sound a bit good, Les. It's just right down to the end. Bobby Thompson, your driver. Now with the red line fever, ladies and gentlemen, Esden Lane from Dayton, Minnesota, with his IH 1486. Esden Lane is on deck, and then Stan Palgrave from Accolade, Texas, in the hole. Esden Lane, Super Stock Puller of the Year for 1984, recognized as such at our National Awards banquet held back early in December.
The 200-foot mark, and right about the 200-foot mark, oh, it sounds like something hammering. What a lineup of competition. I don't know, Ed, we look down over the list and we say, will there be a pull-off? It's unusual for a super stock tractor to compete in more than 2 classes, but he's one of the guys that does it. 7, 9, and 12 super stock. He was after all of them. You can see running here in the 9, he has a lot of weights hanging up there in the front, possibly about 100 pounds of each on the front, and he's running, what, 10, 11, 12 weights hanging out there. Here he goes. goes, Esden Lane, defending Grand National Points champion in the 7,000-pound class, and tough break for Esden. Let's hope it was just a minor thing like jumping out of gear. He's been having these problems this year. Not only the tractor, also the truck that he uses to haul his tractor. He's been having some problems.
Now, that is bad.
And he had a problem coming down here this weekend. Lost the, I believe, the rear end in the truck that he hauls the tractor on. Red line fever, Esden Lane. A tough break for him. Let's see if it's anything serious. Hopefully a simple thing like jumping out of gear.
But it's so easy, right?
Strong competitor. He had to be strong to get here to the Indy Super Bowl. International fans get ready to cheer him on. Right now, International's number 1, but the AC of Harold Wilson sitting there in the number 2 spot at 221. Stan's one of the guys that can knock the AC out of that number 2 position. He's coming out, turning him hard, picking the front end up, going towards the left side of the track, carrying the front end, coming back towards the center. Going hard, he's looking strong as he goes down there past the 200-foot mark. Good run for Stan as he spins out, and it could be close.
Like that, he goes with the red horse.
He had to pass 221 to move into number 2.
Maybe
I believe definitely he has moved into the number 3 position, because at number 3 currently is Al Cook at 201 and 6. He's sort of breezed past that 200-foot mark.
Maybe we could talk him into calling it Red Man instead of Red Horse. I mean,
that's a good idea.
Good idea. Someone pass that along.
Or he could feed that horse Red Man.
Well, yes, you might try that too. Why not? Stan Blagrave with your driver. Check the screen, 214. Now we're going to get set for the instant replay. Stan Blagrave, 214.5. And here, watch the screen at the far end. We're a little bit smoky. But there he is. And a good run. At 214 and 5. Third place.
Well, Ed, we can see Dickie Sullivan coming in with what you'd have to call a whole new tractor. International 3688. Dickie up till the middle of the 1984 circuit, running the International 1066. And one thing we're going to be watching Dickie Sullivan for later this week when he moves into the 12,000-pound Superstock class. For the last 2 years, he's won that class in 83 and 84. 12 Supers. So he could be a guy that could move into that prestigious honor of being a 3-time winner in a row. But it's going to have to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen. There he goes, Dickie Sullivan. A completely new machine for 1985. This should be the first run on maiden voyage. He qualified out of the 1984 Grand National Circuit. Right now, I'm sure he's really excited as how this new machine will perform. He's been a past Super Bowl winner. In fact, in 83 and 84, he won the 12,000-pound Superstock class, and he'd like to do it again this year. Right now, here in the 9,000-pound Superstock class, he's a little concerned about building RPMs. He has a lot on his mind as he winds it up.
I think perhaps this is his first time to pull since the accident.
Well, John, Kenny's saying yes, it is, and also we have to remember brand new tractor. And Dickie did have his problems over the last couple of years. He went to a new setup a couple of years ago, and he definitely had some problems getting everything worked out.
Need a tow tractor, Andy. He will drop down. And as we said,
225 is number 1, 221 is number 2. So hookless lid right now, Joe Markowski at a door.
All right, Joe.
Here he goes. Green flag is out. He's had a couple good years in a row, finishing right on top of the Grand National Circuit. He starts to bring up the RPMs in the International 1066. You can see some water coming out when he first started to go. It's really cooking steam and smoke coming out.
All right.
Tough break for Joe Krakowski and Ed. We can see the water and everything else running out the bottom.
We've got oil, we've got water, a mixture, and Andy was flagging him down. He was underway, and a top. It calls it the wild thing. You can see that the safety blanket covered with oil, internal breakage.
The wild thing is wetting on the track.
It certainly is.
It is not potty trained.
Oh, my. And I'm going to say, Les, we don't know for sure, but at this tractor we're probably looking That's well over $100,000 investment. Some people think there's more money in the modified, and sometimes that's the case, but I'll tell you, to put a good super stock in the competition like you're seeing in Indy Super, you're talking about some real investment.
Now, earlier, John Kenny, who's editor of the Puller, was saying you're going to have 4 out the end.
In this class,
yeah, I said, I don't think so. I said, we have 2 out the end, you're going to be lucky. Now he said none out the end. So we'll find out whether he knows, whether he has his act together.
All right, John.
I'm still thinking we can have a pull-off in this class. And I say there's good chances to have a pull-off in this class.
You still think there's a good chance? 50% chance? You do.
How many agree we can have a pull-off in this class yet?
I'm going to think we've got 50% odds at least of a pull-off in this class.
Listen to this. Listen to this.
Johnny Clue.
Max Simpson.
Max Simpson.
Mean Old Alice coming in. There's Jerry Hart in the bull rundown. Keep it all together like he normally does.
Here we
Here's
go.
A guy that can get it out the end.
I'm going to give him 70% odds of going out the end.
Okay, here he goes. John Klug, the Red Baron. Defending Grand National Points champion over the last 2 years. He's been the Super Stock Full of the Year. Serves as a vice president on the NTP Executive Board. The Red Baron starts to build the RPMs as the green flag is out for him. 225 feet is the distance he has to beat if he wants to move into that number 1 position. But right now he's thinking he'd like to get a full pull. He'd like to put it all together and make it hard for the next guys to compete with him. Comes out front end slow on the track. Starts to lock in. Taking it up just a little bit, going towards the left side of the track. Now he's got it all together, digging it and chewing up about the 200-foot mark. And going to be short of the flag.
Oh.
And this could be interesting.
Why?
Danny D breathes a sigh of relief.
Yeah, but he does. And so there you've got another one that's bit the dust. Wow. Well, Les, as I said earlier, this track may be getting more difficult as we move on. And Johnny Klug, I'm sure, would tell you that it is tough sledding out there. We will pick up the instant replay for you in just a moment. John Klug, defending national champ in the 9,000 competition, all the way in from Stockport, Iowa. Great guy, loves to pull. He'll take it off, knowing that he did not take the lead. Where are we, gals? 2:13.5. That puts him in 4th place. Only 4th place at 2:13.5. So he'll not be pleased with that run. Here we go on instant replay with Johnny Klug. On deck, Ruby Watson, Leonard, Texas, John Deere, 40-20. Ruby Watson, our thanks to the Indiana Farmers Insurance Group, to Big Ben Work,
Norm Green and Bob Mitchell running there together, whether it's 2 different tractors or the same one. But it's been pretty well mixed up with these guys all down through the year.
All right. You John Deere people get ready. Ruby Watson all the way in from Leonard, Texas. It's a long way to haul a tractor. You get to thinking about it. All right, Ruby, bring her out. Well, about 135-foot mark, something let loose. He lost his power boost. What a good-looking tractor. Let's give him a nice round of applause all the way from Texas, ladies and gentlemen, Ruby Watson. On deck. On deck, the Mean Old Alice with Max Simpson. And then another very tough competitor, Jerry Hart, Vandalia, Ohio, defending national champ in the 12. They just keep on coming. After this class, we'll bring in those semis. We had a big time with those semis here last year. In fact, I think we broke the chain on one of them, didn't we, Les?
Yeah, Ernie Metzger.
Old Ernie.
Ernie Metzger had people down there in the front rows changing their jeans quick.
Hey, boy. Switch from Levi to Rank real quick.
Yeah, Ernie Metzger made Libby prove that diarrhea is hereditary.
Oh, boy. All right.
Okay, here he goes.
Here we go.
Alice, Max Simpson, a past Grand National Points champion in the 7,000-pound class, going hard with the Mean Old Alice. the exhaust stack off, and that could spell trouble for Max Simpson, but interesting. He had a good run for the AC.
Do you think for a moment, with as good as he was running, that had he had a little more weight on the front end, that he might have taken the lead in this class?
Well, it could be strategy. He could have been thinking of putting the weight back so that he could lift the front end earlier down there at the starting end. Or as we see the guys come out, they're not lifting the front end until they get out to about the 75-foot mark. Maybe some of the strategy on his part with Max Simpson and Keith Haynes was to put the weight on back, lift it early, try and get that tan in the air, and then sacrifice it down at the end.
And as you and I know Max Simpson, you're probably right. It was probably the strategy. Let's lift it, see what happens. Didn't make it, but still, as you cut on that instant replay, whale of a run for Max Simpson. Ladies and gentlemen, here's one you'll like. Oh, they love him in Ohio. In fact, he's going to be on our television show in a couple of weeks. Jerry Hart, Vandalia, Ohio, defending national champ, IH 1066, and Billy Bird, and then we're hoping Dickie Sullivan can come back.
Hey, State fans, let's give him a good hand as he leaves the arena. Max Simpson, the mean old Dallas. So as we finish the night,
Second place right now is Harold Wilson from Greensburg, Indiana. Number 3 is Dan Blagrave from out of Texas. That's the top 3. Green flag is out. Ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Hart.
Jerry Hart having problems as he's starting to build RPMs here in the hole. Let's hope it's just a simple thing that he can correct.
Don't like that at all.
You can see him shifting gears there. Not exactly sure what he's doing, but this has to be a real bad feeling when you spend all year getting the Super Bowl and then you start to wind it up and things don't go the way you would like them to go.
And especially the guys will say oftentimes, you fellas give us such a build-up and then we wind that thing up and then it goes... And he said, that's bad feeling.
Okay, it looks like it may have just been a simple adjustment. Jerry was up there, his back puts his seatbelt on.
Seems rather calm, doesn't it?
Yeah, he does. I
Really
think you know exactly. It may have been when he started to bring the RPMs up, but they many times have lights on, and when the charger pressure goes up, that the water injection starts, and he could see by the light that it was not working, and he was checking it out to see why, possibly. Maybe one of the many things that they check. They're just not hopping on there like to pull away from the stoplight.
Let's hope we can go.
Jerry Hart, a past Grand National points champion this year in '84. He was 12,000-pound super stock points champion. They got the front end in the air as he comes out. He may have a shot at it. He's going hard. Picks the front end. Digging it to it. He's got some pretty good speed going. He's at 150. Digging up towards the 200-foot mark, and he will spin out. Not enough to move into the number 1 position, but he has to be well satisfied with that run as he passes the 200-foot mark, and he'll be right up in the top positions. But Ed, take a look at it. As we look, 225 is the top distance being held by Danny Dean, and down at 6th position, 201. So there's not a lot of difference in there in that top 25 feet.
And as we said before, Les, perhaps it was better to have pulled early in this class. Of course, Danny Dean ran number 2 in the class. So, here we go, 202 and 11 for a tough competitor, Jerry Hart. Super run, 202 and 11 as he leaves the arena. Bill Berg, Brett doing the driving. Brett Berg doing the driving from Farmington, Minnesota. That's good agricultural country. You bet it is. Fine agriculturalists. Brett Berg on deck. And then we're hoping that Dickie Sullivan will be able to come back in. And I'll tell you, we're running out of odds, Les, for this class to move in to a pull-off.
Out at Iowa and Davenport during that Grand National event, so this will be the first time out since that accident. And he was still using a cane when he was walking around in the pit area.
All right.
Great competitor.
Let's do it.
Dickie Sullivan, green flag comes out for him as he starts to bring up the RPMs. He has to pass the 225-foot mark, now being held by Danny Dean, the Rooster. Very cautious in bringing up those RPMs on this new machine. Green flag is still out, starts to ease it out of the holes, keeps bringing the RPMs up, and he's got a lot of horsepower under the hood. If he can get it out and get it running. Oh, tires are really turning as he really burns it down the track. Oh, he's looking extremely good. And oh, no, it sort of does. eyes on him, and he has been having that problem over the last couple of years. That Ed, you'd have to say, when he turned it loose there at about the 75 to 100 foot mark, he had as much tire speed as anybody in the class.
He certainly did, and I think he learned a lot of things with that run, Les. He knows he's got a tractor that can compete. He knows he's got a tractor that can build up the tire speed that he's looking for. But something let go. In fact, you can even smell that new paint on the tractor of Dickie Sullivan. His first run since the accident. Would you all give him one whale of applause, ladies and gentlemen? A guy we didn't know whether it would be back with us or not, but he's in the saddle tonight. Dickie Sullivan from Naylor, Missouri. Boy, Dickie, it's great to see you back behind the wheel. It really
That option at the beginning of the class. We did not get that relayed to us. Harold Wilson. So he will be back, and right now he's probably wondering why.
All right, so here we are. Danny Dean, ladies and gentlemen, still leads this super class of 9,000-pound tractors at 225.1, which means now good old Texan Stan Blagrave has moved into the second place slot at 214.5. So we've got like 11 feet spread between 1 and 2. That's quite a spread. Only serious money. Indy Super, $136,000, the richest pull ever. Russell Mount's got his green flag there. Andy Main puts up the green flag, ladies and gentlemen. Let's watch him go. And guys, good job with the smoke, too. Keep it up. Brett Bird.
Quite a competitor. He's one of the younger competitors on the circuit. He normally drives his own tractor, but tonight driving his dad's tractor. Brett Berg driving Bill Berg's tractor. Oh, he's got a good run going. He's picking the front end. He's got some speed. He's looking good, Ed. Taking a hard charge, 150 down about that 200-foot mark. But it settles down, digging in the chill, and he's awful close to that checkered flag.
Did you see that? You want to watch this one on the instant replay. What a nice piece of driving. That thing leveled right out, Les. Ooh, it hung in there nice. Beautiful. Way to go, Brett Berg.
As we take a look at the distances at 225, 225.1 is Danny Dean. Stan Blagrave's at 214.5, number 2. We may have a new second place tractor. Going to have to wait for the laser as we watch the TV screens. TV screens up at both ends of the
All right, here it comes, Les, on instant replay. Check it out on the screen. Good run. Boy, I like it. He is number 2 at 217 even. 217 feet, 0.8 of an inch.
Make spit off. They make a full spit. Spit off.
It was one of those announcing jobs that
Blew a turbocharger. They couldn't go back to the floor. Pull along. There he goes, Ray Carpenter. Ben Dunbar. Oh, look at that right tire there in the front. Really going down. Oh, look at this. He's going out to the pit area.
hey.
Oh.
Hey.
Woo.
Wow.
Word.
Wow. Flash it up. Full pull for the bounty hunter.
Hot. Watch him. He's hot.
You smell that clutch? I smell that clutch, too. Let's hope. Yes, you can smell that clutch down here at the track. J.R. Collins, Chardon, Ohio. He knows what he's got to do. But the bounty hunter's right smack out there with a full pull.
Going down. Oh, look at this. He's going out to the pit area.
J.R. and Johnny Mann. Hey. We just settled right down with 3 of the best.
Yes, no doubt about it. Now, we should mention the butterfly team, Johnny Mann, they won the pit award last year, remember?
Yes, I do.
Years ago. Now with this, and the one identical. Now, the wheelbase on the one he won with was a little bit longer.
Boy.
He has 106 of those lights, and you can see a hydraulic tilt hood on it. A little bit of everything. This is a 1984 Mack Superliner.
Does he use it on the road?
No.
Because I got that question. He does not.
He has one that looks identical that he used on the road.
Identical on the road.
Mack fans, cheer on. He picks the front end up, and he's gone. Look at him go. He's going for it. He needs 300 feet to stand in competition. Uh-oh, it's not looking good, but he does lift the front end, digging and chewing, still on it. Pull for the Mack Silverliner.
Oh, you like that?
young lady back here that was really cheering for the Mac. Right here about the 150-foot mark when he started just to back out of it a little, she was really on the edge of her chair. And then when he went out the end, she jumped 16 feet in the air.
Right there.
16 feet in the air.
Is it like that guy see on the commercial?
Do you like Mack trucks?
Leaping in the air.
Do you know Ray?
Well, that's a real fan. We ought to have them to meet. Oh, wow.
Look at him go.
He did what he was doing.
He needs 300 feet to stay in competition. Uh-oh, it's not looking good, but he does lift the front end, digging and chewing, still on it. Oh, pull for the back,
An air whistle.
Ray Collins from Chardon, Ohio. That brings up Johnny Mann.
The butterfly.
He's Kenton. Bring it out here. Johnny Mann.
Look at this beautiful machine. Long wheelbase. Now, this could hurt him here in the competition. That long butterfly, he calls it, starts to wind it up. 852 cubic inch Detroit diesel in it. The Detroit diesel hooks it in, starts going hard, and already is that coming apart, but still going hard, digging and chewing. He's gone to the 300-foot mark. Digging and chewing. Oh, looks like he may have changed gears. I'm not sure. He got the hop and a jump, but still dragging. Could be close. Oh, not quite enough for Johnny Mann. Greg. Beautiful looking machine.
I love it. But like you say, lads, you got to respect the guy so much. As you said, he hauled the trailer in here, has it on the road every day.
Why he's still in here and he can hear you? Let him hear it. Johnny Mann, the Lady Butterfly. If you like the looks of that truck.
Beautiful truck. They like it.
I thought
shifted on the go.
Thought he may have shifted down there. That's what you call being brave.
Isn't that the truth?
Oh, it's an automatic.
Shifted on. Huh?
It's an automatic. Allison.
225 feet, 2 inches for Johnny Mann. 225 and 2. Well, we come back now.
It's going hard. And already,
as he leaves the arena, beautiful truck.
Still going hard, digging and chewing. He's gone for the 300-foot mark.
Showdown now between Killer Mack,
I'm not sure. He got the hop and a jump.
Chardon, Ohio, and the Bounty Hunter.
Ray Carpenter.
Ray Carpenter. Okay, we'll find out right now between the big Superliner Mack and the big 1985 Peterbilt. How are you guys? The Bounty Hunter and the Killer battling it out. Here he goes, the Bounty Hunter. He's going hard, really digging in and chewing. Still whoa! He's take it up again in. Oh, no doubt about it. Ray Carpenter, the Bounty Hunter, and he is tough.
It's tough. Wow, touch of clouds.
I'll tell you what, those people over there in the front row got a good look.
A full ball.
Got a Peterbilt emblem.
Did he hit the wall? Is he right up against the wall? Well, that's what the television screen looks like. Hit the wall. Well.
He can get closer to that. He has a lot of practice following those little foreign cars down the interstate. You get a lot of room in there yet.
Well.
As you'd say, you can turn a reefer around inside that space.
Have we ever had a pull off with a pull off?
No doubt about it.
Man, oh man.
Oh, I'm sure it had to be. Ray Carpenter, the
Pull off,
Bounty Hunter.
may have had one last year.
Was in one time we ran the 7,000-pound super stock class 5 times before he got a winner or something like that. It was called the 7,000-pound super stock demolition.
Demolition derby.
Wow.
Well, the Bounty Hunter.
I've got a great mother-in-law.
Yes.
Everybody should have a mother-in-law like I do.
You mean that?
Would you like her?
I'll trade you.
There he goes.
Maybe you'd like to trade. I don't know. Huh? All right. The Killer. About to make it happen. Big question is, can he go another full pull?
Can J.R. it. Ray Collins, a 998 cubic inch V8 diesel Max super turbocharged superlighter. Here he goes. Going hard, digging and chewing, going hard. Oh, I don't know. He's got a long way to go. Digging and chewing, still going, still going, still going, still. Could be no.
That's it. He did not.
Ray Carpenter out of Endorf, Iowa with the Peterbilt is number 1. And the Mack is number 2. We thank you. Stick around. We're going to be bringing, we need Ray Collins and Ray Carpenter up here for our first and second place awards. We need Ray Carpenter and JR. Ray Collins to come up for the first and second place awards. Don't forget, tomorrow, it's all happening again tomorrow, right here at